James, I want to piss off a couple of fan bases real quick if you want to join me on this one for a moment. It's what we do best here with Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. There's 5 games left in the season for Florida State. Which of those 5 teams, Georgia Tech, Miami, Syracuse, Louisiana, and Florida, which team scares you the most at this point? Obviously, there's still plenty of questions left in the season, but which one of those 5 teams scares you the most right now?
Um, Syracuse, because they're playing very well, and they've got a quarterback that's athletic enough, that's tough to tackle. They're also young, so like we're gonna have to see them multiple times. And I mean, I could say Florida, but I don't know where they'll be at by the time we play them. But and I don't, and the only reason I would say Florida is because I have no idea what Florida team is going to show up. The Florida team that played Tennessee played well enough to win offensively. Their defense has 2 guys that should be first round draft picks in Brian Cox and Gervin Dexter, who, you know, if they're not, they're definitely draftable guys. They're really, really good. And we don't play scrambling quarterbacks very well. Now, if Anthony Richardson decides that he wants to sit in the pocket and be a quarterback, I like our chances. But if Anthony decides that he wants to go be an athlete out there, that's tough, man. I ain't gonna lie, but I would say Syracuse right now.
I get that, and I understand Syracuse obviously has the best record right now. They're losing their first game last week when they lost a close one to Clemson after having a double-digit halftime lead. For me, and I know I'm going to get ridiculed by some of our other fans and some of the fans of the team that I've been making fun of for the first 36 minutes here of the show, but for me, it's Miami. And for me, it's Miami for the simple reason because of what you said about Florida. And I think I agree with you what you said about Florida. We don't know which Miami team exists right now. We don't know if this is a Miami team that, I'm sorry, I watched them look like crap against Duke. I watched them look like crap against Middle Tennessee State. But I also watched them look competitive somewhat against North Carolina, a team that right now looks like they are the favorite to win the ACC's Coastal Division. This is a Miami team that could go out and just curb stomp Virginia, a bad Virginia team this coming week. But this is a Miami team that also could lose to Virginia. This Miami team could come in 4-4 with some energy against Florida State, or could come in 3-5 and just say, "F it, we're done with this season. Just we're done. We don't want to play for a bowl game. We're going to get annihilated by Clemson. We're going to get annihilated by Florida State. We're going to get annihilated by Pitt." I'm more concerned about that because that's what could build up. We could be 5-3, come in here against Miami. If we get upset by a Miami team that I think we were going to come in as a favorite against, that sets up a possibility of getting beat by Syracuse. And then all of a sudden you're 5-5 playing for bowl eligibility against Louisiana and Florida. That's what concerns me right now at this time.
I can see that. The only reason Florida and Syracuse bother me is because I can actually name guys on offense that scare me. I can't name anybody on Miami. Even if TVD plays, TVD has proven that he's the worst quarterback in the state. They probably have a better chance with Jeff Garcia. But Jeff Garcia is not any good either.
Which right now, Miami is not saying whether Van Dyke will even play against Virginia. It's looking like Jake Garcia will start against Virginia if Van Dyke may be out against Florida State. So
like I just post, we do these reels on my show, and I break down the big 3 games. And unfortunately, it was only one game to break down from this past weekend. And it was the Duke game. And Jake Garcia is that number? Who's number? What number? 13, right?
13. Jake Garcia, yeah.
So Jake Garcia is 13. Jake Garcia is either blind or cannot read coverage, which is probably a combination of both. He threw an interception that was so egregious to Duke. No, but I'm just giving this one that was a pick 6.
But it was literally. But he threw 2. He threw 2 where there was literally 3 Duke defenders and not a Miami receiver around.
And that's my point. There wasn't a receiver around for 15 yards. And the young man got the interception, ran into the end zone. First, he tossed up the U. Then he broke it over his knee. And then he tossed it up again. And then he did the upside down U. It was very disrespectful. I loved it. But if that's what I have to focus on and worry about, also with the offensive line that has had injuries but has not done a very good – I apologize, Mark. I'm not trying to be Kanye West version of sports. and say anything. I actually like little people, but
you like Jews too, so you like us.
I do.
You're not
But they're small petite offensive linemen, the Polly Pocket, if you will, of their offensive line, and he hasn't done a good job replacing these guys. So when I look at a Verse, when I look at a Derek McClendon, when I look at our matchups there, I actually kind of feel it a little bit more than I do Miami coming back against that. And that's the only reason I say that. And because Anthony Richardson, if he has to play quarterback, I'm not afraid of him. I like Ant, but if Ant has to play quarterback, Ant's not proven this season that he does that very well. But if Ant plays running back that can throw the ball a country mile, that's tough because we haven't done that well against Jaden Daniels at times, who's gone on to show that he's really, really good. We haven't done that well against Louisville starting quarterback. We haven't done that well against, NC State. We were doing cool when they had the quarterback that dropped back, but they bring in the guy that scrambles. We can't even stop him from scrambling. It's just, we just don't do that very well.
And on the flip side of that, going along with Florida, and I look at the schedule aspect of it, I think Florida gets curb stomped this week by Georgia. Mm-hmm. But then they're going to Texas A&M, which Mark said earlier. Texas A&M looked a lot better a month ago than they do at this point right now. You've got South Carolina coming home, for your home finale. South Carolina, I don't think is as good as their record indicates. I think Florida could win that one. And then they've got Vanderbilt before us. So there is a possibility, a real chance, Florida could come in losers of 3 of their next 4 games before they play Florida State, or winners of 3 of their next 4. That's what I'm saying. That's what concerns me right now. That's what frustrates me about losing the NC State game. Losing the NC State game, and I get it because I'm just going to say it. Clemson and Wake Forest beat us. The games were not as close as the scores indicated. I'm going to give Wake Forest and Clemson credit. Florida State made it look respectable at the end. Wake Forest and Clemson dominated both of those games. NC State bothers me because right now you're 5-2. You could be, if you beat NC State, you don't let them come back based on their field goal kicker. You're 5-2 at this point. You beat Georgia Tech. You're already bowl eligible going into that Miami game at 6-2, and then Miami, Florida, Syracuse are all playing with house money. And if you win 2 games, if you win 3 games at that point, everything else is just a bonus at that point. I'm just really concerned about going into the Miami game with only 5 wins because there is a chance Florida State could. Florida State could have a great last 5 games of the season, go somehow 9-3, qualify for the Orange Bowl, and trust me, the Orange Bowl committee wants us. They do. I've talked to executives of the Orange Bowl committee. They want us bad. It could happen. Things could happen there. There's also a possibility Florida State could go 6-6. So that's just what concerns me. Is I don't want to be going into that Louisville game 5-5, praying to God we can beat. Or not Louisville, excuse me, Louisiana. Praying to God we at least beat either Louisiana or Florida.
If that happens, then that's when you have to have very difficult conversations about Mike Norvell. And the reality is, you can like the guy. You can say it looks better. And all of those things can be 100% true. But the reality is it's a tangible business. Like as I always say, I can work a lot, but if I'm not bringing in any money, it doesn't pay my bills. The goal is to win games. And I again, like Mike, hate the Mike. I hate how they keep using the old man's quotes to justify a lot of this stuff. Like, you lose big, then you lose little, then you win little, then you win big. Yeah, but Bobby had 1 losing season. Like, he didn't have a string of losing seasons. He had 1 in his entire career. And then he went to 30. He had 40 straight winning seasons and 36 straight bowl games. So, you have to understand context is everything. If Mike is 6-6, I don't think Mike survives. He may survive this recruiting class, but he's on a really thin ice for next season because now what we do have at Florida State, we have stability at athletic director. We did not have that in the beginning. The biggest mistake that I don't believe you fire a coach in a year and a half. And 2, I don't believe interim athletic directors should make permanent decisions. Interim athletic directors and presidents on their way out. That's the decision that should be made for a current president and an athletic director who is going to build the program. With Mike Alford is about business. His job is to get Florida State athletics into the new century. So where Mike this is really about him, because you're not gonna just be able to say our guys try, gosh darn it, our guys try hard. They fought to the end. Well, that's the minimum. Like I joke about Georgia Tech, but that's what got Jeff Collins fired. Guys not doing the minimum. We got to get guys doing the minimum, and then how you keep your job is by having guys go above and beyond. Mm-hmm. And they got to win these games. And like you said, Jason, and every fan should. You can be a fan of Florida State and still love the players and the guys and be critical. I don't know what happened to America and what made us so soft to where we can no longer if I'm critical of something, I have to hate it. Like, no, I can judge what I see and say I don't like this aspect of it and still support it. Perfect example, I hate what Kanye said about Jews, but I'm wearing Yeezys today. I like his product. I don't support that. I hate what he did, and I believe he should be fired on every aspect of what he did. Everything he's getting, he deserves it. If I can't say that, then I'm not being a real person. Not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, on those things. If I can't say Mike Norvell shouldn't have lost those three freaking games. Sorry about that. Those 3 freaking games, then I shouldn't even be. What are we doing?
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, James. You hate my people. It's okay.
No, man, you're my guy. Remember when you came up and hugged me?
I did.
You caught me. You caught me off guard, right?
I don't. James wore the greatest shirt. I want to say that. Shout out to James for wearing the greatest shirt ever. It was Burt Reynolds with the Native American headdress on it. It was phenomenal. I want that shirt. The guy on Tennessee Street sent me a shirt, extra large. I needed one.
Yep. I remember when I bought it from him, I said I need that shirt. It's dope. You probably want a large. I was wearing an extra large.
Okay. I'll take that.